So I had a parent reach out today, not a client, I'm always here for questions, reach out and say, I was thinking about hiring this nanny. She didn't have any childcare certification, and I didn't feel great about that. She didn't have any references I could call because one family was really unkind and another family moved. But that's okay. No references, no problem. So I just thought it might be good to stop and talk about what's important when you're hiring a nanny. So, certification. There are companies out there that do provide certification in childcare, and many of them are money-making ventures. They provide this certification, and I don't really know what it means. It's not, I haven't seen, I'll say this, in 10 years, the results that show that the $700 the nanny spent to get that certification results in any difference in the quality of their care in your home. There are other factors much more important than that piece of paper, which they paid for, and they got knowledge by writing, studying, writing tests, things like that. It's not hands-on practical knowledge that they've gained. So I don't think that is a factor that I personally would choose to exclude or include a candidate. CPR certification is a certification that many parents want to see, and that's fine. I will ask this, do you have CPR certification? And if you don't have it and your budget doesn't permit the type of candidates that generally have that certification, then is it fair to request it? And if it's important to you, hire someone and have them work towards it on the weekends. There are plenty of, through I think Red Cross and lots of places, YMCAs, there are lots of places where people can get CPR certification on the weekends. They can get that training while they're working for you. If you don't have it yourself, it's something to just think about. And generally people who have CPR certification are in the $1,000 a week category or more. So if your budget is not there, think about that. The next thing I would say is years of experience. What matters? I have one nanny who has 5 years of experience with kids age 5 and 7, and I have another nanny who has 2 years of experience with kids similar to the age of my children. Which is better? I would say quality over quantity is always the way to go. So 5 years of experience with tween-age kids or elementary school age kids versus 2 years of experience with kids your age, babies, toddlers, there's no question there. Obviously, the direct experience with the age of your kids is a little more relevant. So quality over quantity when looking at experience. The last thing I want to add is references. References are critical. Of course, ladies come with excuses. They don't say, hey, I don't have a reference because I did a really poor job and the family had to fire me. They say the family moved. They were terrible. They're unavailable. I lost their number. I lost my phone and had to get a new one. Those reasons are sometimes valid, but when a nanny comes and she has 3 work experiences and all 3 of those result in no reference, run, don't walk. That's not a good situation. Someone has to have 2 references unless they're at the lowest level. Someone says, hey, I can really barely afford someone. I need someone very new in the market. I'm going to give them their first opportunity because that's what I can afford. And I understand that's the level I'm at. We still check character references, absolutely. But references are critical. Families that would go for certification over references, I don't understand. A piece of paper and the way they can answer questions on a test says so little about who they are versus how they've behaved. Past behavior is the best predictor of future performance. Past behavior is the best predictor of future performance. So that's critical. That for us is number 1. I said last before, but let me throw in one more last thing. Emotional intelligence is really huge. That's one of the biggest factors. If a nanny came and she had 6 months of experience, but 2 excellent references, let's say both were short-term jobs, they were meant to be short-term jobs, and She had incredible emotional intelligence that reflected in her behavior on those jobs and in those references. I would give her a shot. She wouldn't get a lot of money in her next job. She's building up her resume. I would instruct her to make sure she's in this next job for 1 year so that she has that continuity on her resume. That's a good candidate with real potential who you might hire at a really low rate because she's building her resume. But emotional intelligence looks like knowing when to fade into the background when you and your husband are having a conversation, knowing how to redirect a child having a meltdown, knowing how to self-regulate herself. And here's a big one: not being passive aggressive with you when she's upset about something, being able to communicate. Nannies who huff and puff and slam cabinet doors or don't talk to you on the way out the door or get snippy because they're upset about they haven't gotten a raise or something you said, that's immature. That's manipulative. That's not behavior I want around my children. And I don't want that behavior modeled for my children. How are they helping my child work through big feelings when they can't manage their own big feelings and regulate themselves? So, experience, quality over quantity. References, a must, non-negotiable. I don't care what your reasons are, I need references. Go work for another year or two and get some and then come back to me. And don't lose the number this time. And emotional intelligence and self-regulation ability. Those are key. Certification, it's nice, but I wouldn't pay more for it. And CPR, if you don't have it, and you're around your kids a lot of the time, how are you asking for it? They can get it on the job. And if you want it already on their resume, great, you have to pay for it. You are going to pay more for candidates at that level. That's entering more the professional nanny level. So hope that's helpful when you're out there trying to look through several candidates and wondering, hey, what's going to be important in the long term? Remember, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions. Subscribe so you don't miss these helpful videos that I post, and stay safe out there.